Hello, Sharks. I am Jonathan Little. Before we get started with this hand from the $10,000 buy-in tournament that took place on GG Poker last week, I'm going to give you full, complete access to my training site, Poker Coaching Premium, for free. $0. All you have to do is give me your email address. Head over to pokercoaching.com/free pass. You will get 3 free days between now and the end of July 2021. If you're here after that, sorry, maybe we'll do it again in the future. But if you're watching this pretty much in real time, head over to pokercoaching.com/free pass to try out pokercoaching.com and everything we have to offer. $0. Get in there and make good use of it. Today, we have a hand featuring one of the absolute best poker players in the world. We have Ike Haxton. He is an absolute battler. He crushes all of the games on GG Poker alone. He has about $9 million in tournament cashes. In live poker, about $27 million. He was the absolute king of the heads-up sit-and-goes for quite a while. I'm not really sure what he's even up to anymore besides playing all the high-stakes games and winning all the time. He is going to be taking part in this hand, as is Belarmino Souza. I don't know anything about him, but clearly he's in there battling it out. He has $3 million in cashes on GG, so certainly no slouch. Let's take a look at this hand from the $10,000 tournament. Final table playing four-handed. As you can see, Ike is sitting here with about 33 big blinds. Belarmino has about 22. Folds around him in the small blind with King 6 offsuit. Seems like a fine spot to limp. He does opt to limp. Ike Haxton with Ace Queen offsuit has an interesting decision. He could certainly just rip it all in, but I think it's probably better to go for a small raise, because if you raise small and get shoved on, you can just very happily call it off in the spot. While you always want to avoid coin flip scenarios in poker tournaments, Ace Queen's not really a coin flip. And this is a spot where small blind is going to be jamming with a lot of worse hands, and you're fine with that. So in this scenario, you want to make it something like 180, give or take, to give the small blind plenty of room to jam on you if they feel inclined. Ike does make it exactly 180, 3 big blinds. King 6 offsuit's in a tough spot out of position, but I'm sure Belarmino knows that Ike likes to be generally loose and aggressive. So I don't really see how you can fold this spot, blind versus blind. I realize King 6 is not a good hand. I realize King 6 is often going to be dominated. But if you make a king, or even a 6, you're pretty happy. So this is a spot where I definitely think it is viable to call. You don't really want to shove in this spot or even re-raise. If you shove, well, let's rewind just a second. If you shove here, Ike's going to call off very well with just all of his good hands. You have to presume Ike is raising in this spot pretty polarized with his best hands that are very happy to call it off, like Ace Queen, and also some really junky hands. And if Ike does have really junky hands and Belarmino makes any pair, he's going to be thrilled. And he really just doesn't want to go broke whenever Ike gets sitting here with Ace King or something like that. So Belarmino does call. Notice re-raising small is also not a great option. If he does want to re-raise as a bluff, you need to make it 480K, 500K, something like that. But then if he gets jammed on, he'll be getting 2-to-1 pot odds. He'll need to win about 33% of the time. And while he won't quite win 33%, it is kind of close. And you don't really want to find yourself in close scenarios like that, because then you're folding out a large chunk of equity. So in this spot, I like the limp end call. He also doesn't really want to raise, because if he raises, he's going to get jammed on a decent amount of the time, and that's not ideal either. All right, 10, 8, 2. Both players have zip and pip. Ike has the overcards and backdoor draw. This is a nasty spot. It's always annoying whenever it comes undercards that certainly could connect with your opponent's range. I don't know much about Belarmino's strategy. If Ike thinks he's limping with just all sorts of junk, it's probably fine just to throw out a bet and then go from there. If he thinks his range is going to be a little bit more condensed with just good, strong, middle, and high cards, it's probably better to check it back. So this is a spot where me, as an onlooker, does not know exactly what's going on because I've not watched this entire final table. But as Belarmino's range gets, let's say, more reasonable, of just like decent middle connected cards, you want to be way more inclined to check back on this board. Let's see what Ike thinks. He gives it some thought, It's always important to give it some thought. And he does let it go check, check. And I like check, check a lot. Because if you bet there and get raised, it's terrible. If you bet there and get called, you're probably behind. So it's not really an ideal scenario. Plus, this Ace Queen is going to be able to call a bet on a lot of turns. Notice if the turn is any Jack, king, ace, queen, 9, heart, low card, like a maybe 5, 4, 3, or 2, you're pretty happy calling a reasonable turn bet. So I like the idea of checking back and just trying to get close to showdown with this weak marginal made hand that is ace queen. I'm sure some of you in the comment section are saying ace queen's not a marginal made hand, a made hand's a pair. I'm kind of loose with definitions sometimes. In this scenario, ace queen is pretty happy playing a small pot. We're not playing poker in 2002. Hate to break it to you. Shout out to everyone who's still living in 2002 in the comment section. Say hello. All right, basing a bet for 292.5. Solid bet for Belarmino. I like this. I mean, look, if you're going to bluff, you want to be bluffing with some... Well, first off, you want to be betting with a lot of good hands that just want to get money in the pot. So I got to presume Belarmino is very, well, he's somewhat balanced in this scenario. Or maybe very balanced, I don't know. So he's going to be betting with all of his good hands, like good 10s and better, just happy to play for all the money. And then he's also going to be betting with some very high equity draws that can bet and call it off. Really, there aren't a ton of those, though. And then he's going to be betting with some really junky draws. Draws, again, very loose definition here. This is a king draw and a 6 draw. Every once in a while, that king and 6 is good whenever you spike it, as is in this case, right? So you want to be betting in this spot with hands that you know you're never folding, like a 10 or a 3, right? Also, really good draws. There really aren't a ton of those, though. Like, do you really want to even betting like Jack 9 of hearts here? If you bet Jack 9 and get jammed on, you probably have to call it off, but it's pretty miserable, right? So maybe you just want to have, like, I don't even know, ace X of hearts, but you don't have very many of those either because you limped pre-flop and just called the raise. So maybe you do just have really high equity hands, like a 10 and better, and then some really bad draws like king high and queen high that are trying to get ace high and king high to fold out. I think that's reasonable. Over to Ike Haxton. What do you do with ace queen? I don't really see how you can fold here, especially on the 3. There are a lot of draws available that Belarmino could have. It's kind of annoying that he has the queen because he does block the random queen highs, like queen 7 type hands that would probably play this very similarly. But I don't really see what you can do besides call on this spot. Tough scenario, but I mean, this is what Isaac was going for when he checked back the flop. Just call a turn bet and hope to win at the river. Hope to get to the river. King draw, am I right? All right, well, we make the king now. Belarmino has a pot-sized bet left when he rivers the king. It's probably good. So the question is will Isaac call with any worse hands if you jam? And I think it's reasonable. Also the question is, do you jam all in or do you bet small, like 300? So Isaac, when he checks back, probably has a lot of ace highs and probably a lot of like middle pair type hands, under pair type hands that don't really want to bet and get jammed on. They can just easily check it down or easily call a turn plus river bet. So if that's the case, I think you probably want to shove. There are a lot of busted draws available. I know Belarmino doesn't have a busted draw, but if he did have a busted draw here, he would definitely like to jam. Problem is would he actually bet those good heart draws on the turn? I'm not so sure. Interestingly enough, Isaac actually blocks the good heart draws, which is kind of annoying. But, you know, he doesn't block random Jack 6 suited and, well, I guess King 6 suited got there. Tough spot, right? I'm not sure what Belarmino is supposed to do. I'm going to presume whatever he does is right. I think I would probably jam here. Because notice, even if like Isaac was trapping with queens or jacks, you win now, right? And he's not going to fold queens or jacks. So, cool spot. I think it's an all-in. He does go. Basically all in, leaving himself 200 behind. Over to Ike Haxton. Presume you don't know Belarmino has the king 6 here. What do you do with the ace queen? Take a second, think about it. Pause the video right now and write what you would do in the comment section below with this ace queen when you check it back on the flop and just call a polarized turn bet and then face the almost all-in bet on the river. Pause the video and write what you would do in the comment section below. All right. Horrible spot. I'm sure everyone in the chat's just going to say fold, but I think it's actually way closer than you may think. This is a spot where, for all I know, Belarmino would be betting turn with gut shots like 7-6. He could be betting stuff like ace 2 if he has it. He could be betting stuff like queen high. Would he bet queen 9? Probably not. Would he bet queen jack? Probably not. On the turn, I mean. Because these are hands that would not want to bet and then fold to a shove, although you're not going to get shoved all that often. I think as Belarmino has more logical draws, this becomes just an easier and easier call for Isaac. He does have this queen of hearts in his hand, which is really annoying because he blocks queen high draws like queen 7, and he also blocks queen high flush draws like queen jack of hearts, queen 9 of hearts, etc. So like if Isaac was sitting here with a weaker hand, funny enough, I think it would be a easier call. Like if you gave him ace and ace 7 here, I think it may actually be a better call than this hand. Look, if Isaac's anything like me, he probably hates folding. I hate folding. As Belarmino is more loose and aggressive, I think you have to be more inclined to call. As he's more tight and passive, I think you have to be a little bit more cautious. That said, this does feel kind of funny, right? Because remember, Belarmino limped preflop, called a raise. So he probably doesn't have a really good hand because he would shove those in preflop. He also probably doesn't have a slow-played aces because Isaac blocks it, right? He also probably doesn't have slow-played kings because there's a king on the board. So doesn't have 10s, doesn't have 8s, doesn't have 3s, right? He could have a 3 here. 4-3 suited, 5-3 suited, stuff like that. He could also easily have a king with just like random king bluffs. It's kind of unlucky if that happens though, but it did happen this time. Look, I'm not going to pretend like I know what the right answer here is in this spot, but I certainly would not fault a hero call. But the queen of hearts is pretty nasty. You really don't want this queen of hearts in your hand. That said, let's see what Isaac does. I'm going to presume he just knows the right answer. It's important to realize when you're watching the literal best players in the world play, presume they're going to get it right. Right meaning, right from a fundamentally sound point of view. Certainly if Isaac calls here and he's going to lose, but I think calling here is pretty nice. It's fine, especially if Belarmino's like loose and aggressive. He is from Brazil. Those Brazilians get bombos every once in a while and just go for the bluffs. Isaac does call. Isaac does lose. And I certainly don't fault him for this. I wonder if Belarmino was going to go for a bluff on any river. This is what I always wonder, right? Because we don't know. We don't know. Put any river up there. Do you think Belarmino's going to go for it? And if he does, and Isaac just calls every time, then Isaac's going to print money here, right? Because he wins every time unless a king or a 6 comes. But if Belarmino does just check fold when he misses, well then the turn bluff's not so great, right? Because then Isaac gets to realize his showdown value very, very frequently. So weird spot. I like the way Isaac played the hand, but it did not work out. Believe it or not, it does not work out all the time. I get questions from all of you in the chat. You send me emails, etc. And a common question is, I seem to make deep runs and then I just get unlucky. What am I supposed to do? Put in a lot of volume. Volume cures variance. Here you have Ike Haxton, one of the best players in the world, having his opponent drawing to, 6 outs. He gets there. He gets paid. Isaac loses the hand. He moves on, plays the next tournament, continues extracting the massive edge I'm sure he has in these games. And that is what you should do as well. Find a game you can beat, play it a lot, and keep a proper bankroll, and you will win. So that's going to be it for today. Again, make sure you take advantage of the completely free access to Poker Coaching Premium. Giving away everything I have. Check it out, pokercoaching.com/free pass. If you like the free pass, do me a favor, click the like and subscribe button below. Also, click the notification bell. If you want to give me just a little bit more than your email address to get access to Poker Coaching Premium, click the notification bell. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Very nice. Good luck in your games. Have a great week, and I will talk to you next time. Hello there. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You want me to let you in on one little secret to take your poker skills to the next level? All you have to do is click the subscribe button right here. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.